Hi, I'm John Waterhouse, and this is Weekday Wisdom. My question for you today is what's in your mirror? And in answer to that, I want to share with you some thoughts on a particular spiritual law. But first, I want to talk about spiritual law in general. There are metaphysical teachers who expound on a variety of spiritual laws, but what they're actually doing is talking about different perceptions of the one law. There is really only one spiritual law, but we can describe it in different ways. Spiritual law is different from man made law in that spiritual law cannot be created or altered. It's only being discovered and applied. That's all we can do with it is discovered and apply it. Man made laws are like facts, they change and they can be flawed. Spiritual law is always absolute and always perfect. In the United States, man made laws are created by state legislatures and Congress and then signed into law by a president or a governor. Man made laws are enforced by a criminal justice system when police officers observe or discover that there's been a law broken. Then prosecuting attorneys have to prove that that's what happened. And then someone actually has to pay a penalty for whatever law they broke. By comparison, no one can even bend spiritual law, much less break it. There are only two things that we can do with spiritual law. First is to be aware of it and to take advantage of it. And second, to deny it and to simply be miserable in our ignorance. The perception of spiritual law that I want to share with you in the next couple of minutes is called the law of reflection. It's described very simply as your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, meaning that the way we see the world is not simply determined by what the world looks like. It's determined by our individual beliefs, our attitudes, and our feelings. Things mean only what we choose for them to mean. And Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, had a lot to say about this thing called the law of reflection. He said, life is a mirror reflecting to us as conditions, the images of our thinking. Life is a mirror that reflects back to the thinker that which he or she thinks into it. The mirror of life cannot help reflecting back to who we really are. And he said, you hold an object in front of a mirror, and the image will reflect into the mirror an exact likeness of the object. You hold a thought in a mirror, and it will image back to the matter that exact likeness of the thought. You take this image that you hold in front of the mirror and change it ever so slightly, and there will be a change in the mirror. It's just the same way in the mental realm. And it isn't just a science of mind idea created by Ernest Holmes. Jesus spoke of the law of reflection when he said, it is done to you as you believe. It's the same concept. He was saying that life not only responds to our beliefs, it responds as we believe. We don't even have to think about it. All we have to do is believe something for it to be so. Life will reflect to us the exact structure of what it is that we think. And one thing's for sure, our reflection will always find us. Our reflection will fly over great oceans and mountains and deserts to find us. We can run from it, but we cannot hide. There is no escaping the reflection of our consciousness. We can't even pray it away. When we think the outside world is real, we will keep creating the same reality over and over again. But once any of us come to realize that we are creating our own reality, then we can be, do, and have whatever we choose. Ralph Waldo Emerson understood the law of reflection. He said, life is like a mirror to king and slave. If you want a friend, be a friend. Years ago, when I was a college professor, there was a master's student I had the privilege of knowing named David. And in his master's thesis, David wrote these words. Spiritual growth is like climbing the stairs of a lighthouse. We gradually ascend step by step. The journey takes place in relative darkness, with only brief glimpses of light from the occasional small window. While some of the outlooks may appear the same, Our perceptions are constantly changing. Sometimes it feels as though we're going around in endless circles, but we are continuing on as we spiral even higher. If we have the will and the fortitude to accomplish the ascent, we eventually reach a full 360-degree view of the light. We enter a place of perpetual illumination and become a beacon for others. So, what are you projecting into your mirror? What do you see? What do you want to see? Use this perception of spiritual law to consciously create the life that you want. And what a glorious life it will continue to be. And with that, please go and have a fantastic day. I'll see you again.